If you feel like you're gaining weight with fibromyalgia, or you just can't lose it no matter what you try, it's not just about diet, and it's not a lack of willpower. There are real changes happening in your body that make weight gain much more likely and weight loss much harder. This is a really important topic because when we've already got a chronic condition, research shows that it's more likely we will develop more conditions as we age. So it's absolutely vital for us to do all we can to maintain a healthy weight and to maintain our general health. And once you understand what's actually going on with your body, you can start looking at weight gain or loss more practically. If we've not met before, I'm Rashpal, a certified and UK award-winning wellbeing coach who's also lived with fibromyalgia for 26 years. Many of you have asked me about weight issues, so let's take a closer look at what's going on. The first thing to understand is this: your body is not working against you, it's actually trying to protect you. When your system is under stress, physically, mentally, or emotionally, your body shifts into a protective mode. And in that state, it does a few key things. It holds on to energy, it slows things down in your body, and it becomes more cautious about what it lets go of. So instead of burning energy easily, your body is trying to keep and store it. Not because something is wrong, but because your body thinks you need it. And this starts to show up in everyday life in ways that can feel quite upsetting, like weight gain. Before we go into that, I wanted to let you know there are some simple tools and trackers and other resources available on my Ko-Fi page. They're designed to help you understand your unique patterns so you can start shifting symptoms in a way that works for you. Everything's linked below if you'd like to take a look. And now let's go deeper into why weight gain happens. There are some very practical reasons why weight gain becomes more likely with fibromyalgia. As I go through these, please remember this is not about blame. It's not our fault. These are down to the condition we're having to cope with every day. Now, fatigue is a big one. When you're exhausted, you naturally move less, even if you're trying to keep moving. So this can look like sitting for several hours, or lying down a lot, or going to bed earlier or waking up later. Pain also plays a role. If movement hurts or your body feels heavy and uncomfortable, you're not going to move in the same way. We also reduce the range of movement and we may ask for help more. I know when I'm feeling in a lot of pain, instead of trying to lift something or reach for something, I will ask my son or husband to do it. So we're actually reducing our range of movement. And then there's the crash cycle. We keep going, we push when we can, and then our body crashes. And everything stops and our routines become inconsistent. And this is a very real issue that we all live with quite regularly. And that alone makes it really hard to build any kind of steady routine. And then there's something we don't often talk about, but we're going to be real. There's the factor of comfort. When your body feels unpredictable, when your symptoms are up, sometimes you need something that helps you feel better in the moment. And for a lot of us, that can be food. I know for me, it might be reaching for more dark chocolate than I would usually have when I'm more fatigued, or relying on easier meals or takeaways when I don't have enough energy to cook. And there's no blame in that. That's us and our bodies trying to cope. But when we're tired, our movement is limited, we're prone to crashes, and we have comfort food moments, it makes sense that weight gain is possible. And if you're losing weight with fibro, I'll talk more about that in a moment. Now let's look at what's actually happening inside your body. I'll keep this as simple as I can, but there is some important science behind it as well. When you are living with fibromyalgia, your nervous system is often more sensitive. We've talked a lot about that. That means that your stress response is more active. And that involves hormones. And hormones are the chemicals that send signals and messages throughout your body. And I want to talk especially about cortisol, which is your main stress hormone. It's helpful in short bursts. It gives you energy. It helps you respond when something happens and it gets you going. It even wakes you up in the morning. But when your system is under ongoing stress, which can happen with a chronic illness, those levels of cortisol can stay higher than they should be. So cortisol naturally lowers during the day and increases at certain points. And those points would be when you wake up first thing and when you're stressed. But with us and the stress of living with a chronic condition, our cortisol levels can stay high or higher than they should be. And over time, that can start to affect your body. It can make your body more likely to hold on to energy, more likely to store fat, especially around the middle. And that's what some people call cortisol belly. And it's less likely to let that energy go, so it'll hold on to weight. At the same time, your metabolism can feel slower as well. Partly because we're moving less, but partly because our bodies are trying to conserve energy because we're fatigued all the time. There is another factor that really impacts us. So let's look at that now. Sleep is another big part of the biological body piece. If you're not sleeping well, which is very common with fibromyalgia, your hunger signals change. Your body produces more of the hormone that makes you feel hungry when you haven't slept enough, and less of the one that tells you you are full. It equates lack of energy with needing to consume more. So the next day, you naturally feel like you need more food, especially quick energy foods like sugar or carbs. I've seen this in myself quite a bit, actually. For example, over Easter, my husband bought me some gluten-free hot cross buns, and they were great. And it's okay to have a treat now and again. On one day when I hadn't slept properly the night before, instead of having one, I ate two that day in one go. And I was loading up with more carbs than usual for the rest of the day as well. And when I look back, it wasn't about lack of control. My body felt like it needed more energy. And it naturally wants to go to food for that energy. But what it actually needed was more rest. Now, there may be some of you out there who are not gaining weight, and it is important to say this as well, that not everyone with fibromyalgia does gain weight. Some people experience the opposite. If you're in a flare, you might feel nauseous, dizzy, and not hungry, and that can lead to eating less. I'm not sure how many people this affects, and it does happen to me from time to time. So if you've experienced this type of nausea, please let me know in the comments. So in this way, some people can actually lose weight, especially if they've had longer flares or in a constant flare. And this can happen early in your journey with fibromyalgia. So some people actually lose weight, especially during longer or repeated flares. But the underlying issue is often the same, that your system is dysregulated, it's stressed. Now, I have to tell you this one story, and it's a big mistake that I was making, which is actually making me gain weight. And I just didn't realize I was doing it. Now, this is a big one. When weight starts going up, our natural reaction is to eat less. And I've done this myself. I thought I must be eating too much, so I'll just be good, I'll eat less, I'll eat healthier foods. But every time I did that, my fatigue got worse. I mean, terribly worse. And I got really fed up with it. I was trying all this stuff and I couldn't lose any weight, and I was quite overweight at the time. So I had a chat with my husband, and he suggested, and this was the real eye-opener, he suggested that I try actually measuring what I was eating and actually work out what I was eating. So how many calories, how many carbs, how much protein, etc. So as he suggested, I started tracking everything, and I did that for about 3 days. And this included food, drinks, everything, supplements. And then I looked at the full picture. I looked at the calories I was taking in, the energy intake, the protein, the carbs, the nutrition I was getting from the tablets, etc. And when I did that, I honestly was shocked because I thought I was eating too much or the wrong types of foods, and I must have been because I was overweight. But I was actually eating far less than my body needed. And that explained so much. It explained why I was so fatigued, why nothing was shifting with my weight or my symptoms, and why I was just stuck. So let me tell you what was going on there in a bit more detail. Your body needs a certain amount of energy or calories to function, just to function. This is called your basal metabolic rate. And this is the basic amount of calories and energy you need to keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your brain temperature control and digestion functioning, as well as lots of other basic functions that we don't need to think about consciously. So even if you sat still all day long, you would need that basic amount of energy. And if you consistently eat below that, your body doesn't go into a fat loss mode. It goes into a protection mode because it's not getting enough energy or nutrition to maintain basic function. And from your body's perspective, that looks like a potential famine. So what happens is this. Whatever you do eat, your body becomes more likely to store it as fat because it's trying to keep you safe by having enough energy stores for what it sees is a starvation period that you're going through. And when I learned this, it was mind-blowing. Now, to work out your basic metabolic rate, if you'd like me to, I can create a resource that goes along with this video series to help you understand your gut, your diet, and your BMR, and how all of this fits together. If that's something you would find helpful, just let me know by popping a yes into the comments below, and I'll know to put that together for you. So if all of that is happening in our bodies, we're stressed, so we're holding on to weight, we're not moving as much, we might not be eating as much, we might not be hitting our basic minimum amount required. So what do we do next? This is where a lot of people get stuck because you try to fix it the way we would without fibromyalgia. And we follow the usual advice, which is eat less, exercise more, follow a specific diet. But with fibromyalgia, we know that often backfires. Eating less equals more fatigue. Exercising more is more likely to lead to crashes. And following generic advice gives us inconsistent results and it pushes us into stress mode. And then exercise is a big one because you might push yourself to do more and then the next day you can't move. You're in more pain, more fatigued, and everything else becomes harder. And that's when routines break down. That's when easier food choices come in, and it becomes a cycle. Does it sound familiar to you? So what actually works instead? You have to work with your body, not against it. I've found that taking fibro into account gives me better ways to manage my weight on a day-to-day basis. That means focusing on energy first, calming your system, choosing consistency over intensity. So when it comes to movement, it needs to be realistic. For me, that looks like gentle stretching every day, and that's my basic minimum. And then walking when I can, some days more, some days less. And if I can't do it, I don't force it because I don't want to push my body into stress. So consistency matters more here than intensity, being able to do a little bit every day rather than trying to do a lot one day, doing nothing the next, and then trying again the day after that. And it's vital for our future health that we keep our stress levels low because that will make our condition, our symptoms, and our weight worse, whether you're gaining it or losing it. So you now have the full permission of a certified wellness coach to avoid stress and keep yourself as happy and calm as possible. With food, it's about building something sustainable. No extreme diets. They're going to stress our bodies. Not cutting everything out. That's going to be stressful too. But making sure your body is getting enough food, enough protein, enough nutrients, and eating in a way that supports your energy. For me, I've learned what works through trial and error. I need regular meals. So my husband will eat 2 meals a day. I can't do that. I've noticed if I try to do that, it increases my fatigue. If I skip meals or don't eat enough, I feel worse. So now I tend to have a protein-based breakfast. So that's like eggs and vegetables, something lighter in the middle of the day, and a balanced evening meal. The lighter meal is usually a salad because that ensures I get some fresh micronutrients every day and they help keep my body functioning as well as possible. That works for me. For someone else, it might look different. And that's the key here. You have to find what works for your body. And this is how and where most people finally start to see things shift. In the next video, we're going to go into more detail about the biggest mistakes we make when we're trying to lose weight with fibromyalgia. Because once you see those, a lot of this will start to click even more. And then after that, we'll look in detail at what actually helps in a practical and realistic way. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are so you don't miss out on the next part. And I'll link that here as soon as it's ready. So until next time, take care of yourself, eat well, and be well.